For a country that dominates nearly every sprinting event, it's one of the most baffling sports mysteries in modern Olympic history. How can the United States, stacked with the fastest runners on the planet, keep failing at something as simple as passing a baton? Over and over again, Team USA's 4x100 relay team has imploded in spectacular fashion, leaving fans around the world shaking their heads in disbelief. These aren't unknown athletes fumbling in the dark. These are world champions, Diamond League winners, men clocking sub-10-second hundreds like it's a warm-up jog. And yet, time after time, they step on the Olympic stage or world championship track, only to crash and burn in what should be one of their most automatic gold medals. This isn't about bad luck or isolated mistakes anymore. It's a full-blown crisis. The kind that has legends like Carl Lewis calling out the incompetence in public and fans turning into memes of frustration. So what's really going on behind the scenes? The nightmare reached peak visibility during the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, when the U.S. men's 4x100 relay team delivered one of the most embarrassing performances in the history of American track. It wasn't just a loss, it was a viral train wreck. The moment Ronnie Baker and Fred Curley failed to connect on a basic baton handoff wasn't just clumsy, it was catastrophic. They didn't just miss the podium, they didn't even make the final. That image of Curley looking confused and the baton exchange looking like two strangers trying to high-five in the dark, that became the symbol of Team USA's dysfunction. Carl Lewis didn't hold back. He called it a disgrace, a mockery of the sport, and an embarrassment to the country. Fans around the world couldn't believe it. With athletes that fast, how do you mess up the handoff? How do you lose to teams with slower runners but better teamwork? It's like watching Ferrari engines running on bald tires. Speed is useless without execution, but Tokyo wasn't the first disaster. It was just the most public and the most humiliating. Because if we're being honest, the so-called relay curse isn't new. It's been haunting the US for decades. Since 1996, Team USA has fumbled the 4x100 baton so many times, you'd think it was coated in oil. Disqualifications, botched handoffs, missed exchange zones. It's practically a highlight reel of disaster. In the 2008 Beijing Olympics, both the men's and women's teams dropped the baton in prelims. In 2016, another foul-up led to DQ threats before a rerun had to be staged. And every time the pattern repeats, it's the same confused reactions, the same shrugs, and the same promises to do better next time. But next time never comes. Fans no longer ask if there will be a mishap. They ask when. Meanwhile, other nations with slower sprinters but tighter coordination are cashing in on U.S. mistakes. It's no longer a coincidence. It's a pattern. A rotten culture of underprepared, overhyped teams that crack under the smallest pressure. And if history is any clue, the curse is far from broken. One of the most overlooked causes? Ego. Raw, untamed ego. Unlike Jamaica's Bolt-era unity or Britain's disciplined order, the U.S. team often feels like a mashup of alpha sprinters who've never worked together. Imagine taking 4 solo artists and trying to form a band overnight. That's what it looks like when American stars link up for the relay. There's barely any chemistry. These athletes train separately, race separately, and sometimes only meet days before major events. When it comes to handoffs, timing is everything, and chemistry isn't optional. But what happens when everyone thinks they should anchor? Or lead off? Or be the face of the team? The result is confusion, tension, and poor execution. This isn't a diss on their talent. It's a brutal truth about what happens when big personalities crash in a sport that demands total sync. You can't just throw the 4 fastest guys together and expect magic. It's like building a Ferrari with mismatched parts. Flashy on paper, but doomed to break down. And let's not pretend this is just an athlete issue. The blame runs deeper, straight into the heart of U.S. track and field coaching. For years, insiders have pointed fingers at the system itself. Coaches who prioritize individual glory over relay success. A lack of dedicated relay camps. Little to no practice before major meets. Can you imagine an NFL team practicing routes the day before the Super Bowl? That's how the U.S. treats the 4x100, like a side project. And when things go wrong, no one's held accountable. The Federation rotates lineups like a slot machine, never allowing consistent chemistry to form. Meanwhile, countries like Jamaica treat the relay like a national mission. They build chemistry year-round. They understand that relay gold isn't just about speed. It's about unity, strategy, and rhythm. Until the US takes that approach seriously, the baton will keep slipping. Not just from their hands, but from their legacy. Tensions have only escalated with the rise of new stars, especially Fred Curley and Noah Lyles. Both are world-class, both are vocal, and both want to lead. But rumors have swirled for years about internal friction between the two. Whispers about disagreements over anchor legs, team dynamics, and public spotlight. While neither has outright admitted to conflict, body language during exchanges and subtle post-race interviews suggest otherwise. When your two top dogs can't get on the same page, the relay becomes a ticking time bomb. Curley's raw power and Lyles' flair for the finish are a dream combo on paper. But dreams don't win medals. Coordination does. And right now, there's a growing fear that personal pride is getting in the way of national performance. With Paris looming, even fans are picking sides. But the clock doesn't care about egos. It only cares about clean handoffs and smooth execution. Meanwhile, the contrast couldn't be clearer when you look at other countries. Jamaica, once fueled by the electric dominance of Usain Bolt, didn't just win because of speed. They practiced obsessively. Their exchanges were razor sharp. The chemistry between Bolt, Blake, Frater, and Powell was legendary. Even post-Bolt, they've maintained a culture of cohesion that keeps them competitive. And then there's Great Britain, never the fastest, but always in the medal hunt because of flawless baton work. While the US changes lineups and wing it on the fly, these countries drill technique until it's second nature. It's not about the names on the roster. It's about the team on the track. That's the lesson the US refuses to learn. And until they do, expect more bronze finishes. Or worse, no finishes at all. Other teams are outworking America on the one thing that actually matters in relays: unity. Now the pressure is reaching a boiling point, and the US roster is stacked. Noah Lyles, Fred Curley, Christian Coleman, Kenny Bednarek. On paper, it's a dream team. But fans aren't excited. They're nervous. Because paper doesn't win races, execution does. The world remembers Tokyo. They remember London. They remember every single fail, every missed zone, every confused look from world-class athletes who couldn't even make a handoff. This time, the spotlight will be brighter than ever. And with social media turning every slip-up into viral humiliation, the stakes couldn't be higher. For the athletes, for the coaches, and for the country's pride. One more failure, and it won't just be a bad day on the track. It'll be a national embarrassment broadcast to millions. This isn't just another race. It's a referendum on everything broken in U.S. relay culture. So what now? Insiders are calling for a total overhaul. Mandatory relay camps, consistent athlete pairings, dedicated relay coaches, not just sprint experts winging it. There's talk of new leadership, new systems, and finally treating the 4x100 like the gold mine it should be. But change takes courage. It takes honesty. And it takes tearing down the ego-driven culture that has poisoned the relay for decades. Will they do it? Will they finally build a team, not just assemble stars? One thing is clear, the world is watching. And if Team USA fumbles again, it won't just be a dropped baton. It'll be a dropped legacy.